such as Ahmadu Bello, Sardauna Sokoto, who was the premier of northern Nigeria, were able to hold the region together. Why? Because he mentioned something very, very critical. That is because of the method or principle of inclusivity. It was this principle that made the North possible to hold together no matter the differences. And he shows that one of the reasons why the military were always given the boot was because they did not employ this method of inclusivity. They thought that as a military, everything will be controlled by the military. And when it came to colonial democracy, to post-colonial democracy, he mentions that, and even linking it with our experience today, people are clamoring, why there will be a trend toward one party system. No, cool down. Nigerian tradition is not in support of that, and it will never. And this thing will collapse one day. This is a professor telling us. Sir, you are so modest. Because when I read the things, then I saw my own teacher, a professor of international repute, even give references. You are enough as a reference point. You don't need to tell anybody that you are getting this from that or that. You, as Ibrahim Gambari, stands internationally to justify your status. So anybody who says something, a student will ask you, when you get something out of this lecture, when your lecturer asks you, well, where did you get this? Says Professor Gambari, let him question that. So, sir, you are an authority, and we are proud of you. And we hope God will prolong your life in order to benefit from your wisdom. Also, Professor told us about the need not only for inclusivity, the need for reaching out to other social groups. You cannot rule, you cannot claim sophistication or wisdom of knowledge. If you want to rule well, then you have to include all groups. The younger element, the youth, have to participate. For the Muslims, you know that in the Prophet's cabinet, there was Abu Bakr, there was Umar, there was Usman, who were almost age mate to the Prophet. But there were others who were in their teens. There was Ali, there was Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, there was Abdullah bin Abbas, so many. So for any system to work, then there has to be the wisdom of the elderly and the exuberance of the young. And that's what Professor is saying. Only this makes a system to work. And unless we understand this, then we'll continue in limbo. We may not discover ourselves. And he also mentions that in order to succeed, then we make up our population as a thinking and a population that is ready to adapt to changes. The global changes global changes that are going about all over the world. We need to domesticate it so that we will make our own innovation for our own benefit. We cannot be just copy. We need to domesticate whatever is brought to us so that the best in it will be utilized. These are some of the few things I took out of the professor's lecture. In order to share this experience, and as he said, that what makes an academic a real academic is for him also to open his heart for input, because wisdom is not a monopoly of age, nor is it a monopoly of ethnicity or a monopoly of religion. Wisdom belongs to all, and to the high and to the low. I could remember, sir, as he said with regard to the North, there was a time in 1924 when the colonial officer here in KATSINA was cautioning Sarki Dukko when Sarki Dukko opened admission to students of lower classes, to social groups from the commoner side. What happened? The colonial officer, the resident invited the emir and told him that, do you know that the policy of indirect rule did not allow for this low social category to be allowed Western aid to acquire Western education, because later they may challenge your own status. But the emir was quick to answer, can we be a mountain unto ourselves? One day these people, if we neglect them now, they will be our social problem tomorrow. So we need to include them. And this inclusivity will help everything together. I think we'll allow some few questions from the elderly class, from the academia, and from the students category. We will allow at most 2 questions from each category, so that we need to prepare for Jumat prayer, and we need to allow Professor, our esteemed guest lecturer, to have time to rest. Okay, DVC. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity.
DVC Academy.
My name is Arnau Gambo. I'm the DVC Academy of AL-QALAM University. So, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Professor, for very insightful lecture.
Only need this one because we don't hear you so much. Come forward. Okay. Whoever wants to ask a question, let us line them up here so that they will become one after the other. Who also wants to ask a question? Can you? Please come up. Okay, Your Highness, you don't come up. We'll come to you. Okay, we'll come to you. Okay, line up there. From the student side, who wants to ask a question? From the student side? No, I will not accept this. The students have to. Otherwise, the guest lecturer will not want to be treated like this. We want to see that the students are up and doing. Okay, come. Good. This is one of the students we are proud of. Any other student? Any other student? The guest lecturer talked about issue of continuity and change, innovation, and we have a vibrant science faculties here and computer science inclined disciplines. We have vibrant that won even awards. Why can't they come up? Okay, let us start.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Sir, probably at the Center for Inclusive and Accountable Governance is a true political party where members made little by little contributions. And these contributions then be used to sponsor the best candidates for election. So, but we know that in Nigeria this is not what happened. Because few people with resources will decide who gets presented for elections. So you mentioned national consensus as a way forward, citing example from Senegal. So if we are to have a national consensus on strengthening political parties in Nigeria, how would that consensus look like, especially in terms of party formation and party operation? Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala al-Karim. My name is Muhammad Bashir Usman Rongudia from Hassan Usman Katsina Polytechnic. Thank you very much, Prof. I'm meeting you physically for the first time, but I've been reading about you, reading your works. My concern and question is the fact that the North, we have been reading about, used to be a force to reckon with, used to be a voice, used to be a lead with united leaders. Today, sir, I stand to be corrected. I don't think if we have a leader in the North that will call the Northerners using a voice, and the Northerners will fall and follow. Where have we got it wrong? How can we rectify this problem? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prof. The presentation was brilliant and excellent as expected as usual. So, my name is Ghazali Musa Jagi. I would like to stand on the already existing protocol. I've listened to you, you highlighted the population crisis, the leadership crisis, and what have you. Although I missed some part of the lecture for some unavoidable reasons. What I want to know is, I think the Deputy Vice Chancellor had asked my own question, that you made mention of the national consensus as one of the most important solutions to our division issue. So, I want to understand, do we need another national conference? Do we need a memoranda or what have you to get this national consensus? Because our politicians, as we know, they have their own interests, and should they be the people, the leaders, to design this or to bring about this national consensus, it may be full of the interest of the individual interests as usual. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you all. My name is Musa Gumen, and I am the Amir of MSSN, and I also serve as the chairman of Coalition of AL-QALAM Presidents. Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. My question is, how can we involve students in the government of Nigeria, specifically the North, sir? How can we groom them to become good leaders in future? Thank you, sir.
My name is a recent graduate from Political Science Department here at KATSINA University. And my question is, as a student, when I look at Nigeria, and when I look at the northern part of Nigeria, there is a lot of crisis, especially when it comes to the religion, politics, and all other elements. Now the problem is, the masses of ordinary Nigerians suffer more from this crisis. What advice would you have for the ordinary Nigerians for overcoming these problems and promoting more unity among Nigerians? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think you are conducting this very well, and I hope we'll get a chance. Bear in mind that you must to take maybe a few more, but I'm particularly Royal Highness sitting here. This is a part of the conversation that I like. No, not just talking and lecturing. The feedback, and let me respond to some of these and then sum up what I've been trying to say all morning. First, the political parties. The political parties that we have, for the most part, and I'm not speaking absolutely, they see themselves as vehicle to gain political power, because our constitution does not allow for independent candidacy. But political parties will be more than just vehicle to power. Okay, power to do what when you get there? You know, you want power, you get it. So what do you intend to do? What distinguishes you from the others? What are the choices you are presenting for the electorate? That is why I feel that we have to strengthen our political parties so that they behave more than just seeing us as vehicle to power every time the elections come. And it's become a terrible vicious circle, because the electorate said the only time we see these people are when the election is around the corner. So let them bring out the money. Let's take the money. But by doing so, we are encouraging that behavior. We should be involved in governance. Once they get there, okay, measure what they promise against what they are delivering, and punish them if they didn't perform the first time around. Let us rank them. Let us continue to monitor and rank them. Because, you know, power does not give except by demand. So if the electorate just wait every 4 years to cast their votes, where is the means of accountability, really? But so there is responsibility on the part of us, the people, for responsibility on the part of the leadership of political parties. You know, when we met Sardauna, Awolowo, they were leaders of political parties first, before they became premiers, you know. So, and leadership by example, they go to the constituents, you know, they visit their constituents constantly, talk politics, talk governance. That is what is missing. And as I said, that, you know, the political ambitions of people in this country will not permit a single party state. But that is not enough. We have to just make sure we are parties that are parties, not vehicles for political power. And if you don't make them do so, it will not happen. So civic education, political education, very, very important. That's my response. Secondly, the issue about what happened, what went wrong from the time of the Sardauna to now. Very, in my view, one major thing went wrong: mentoring. You see, the Sardaunas, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, they mentored people. Shehu Shagari was mentored, you know. Yeah, they mentored people. So that, and for them, that is their best legacy. They don't think of legacy in terms of gigantic projects, but that what are they leaving behind? Who are they leaving behind to continue what they have done? We missed that. Check them after the Sardauna. How many people are those who follow them mentor, who succeeded them? They don't even know who will succeed them, because they have not mentored anybody to do so. So it's a game of chance. That's why the legacies, we are still remembering these people, because they build the foundation of legacy is by mentoring. And mentoring takes place at different levels: political mentoring, administrative mentoring, even academic mentoring. You know, when you leave the university, you want to see that you have mentored people who will continue, you know, who even maybe remember you, or remember, I still remember some of my teachers, you know, yeah, because I was mentored myself. I will not be standing before you today if I was not mentored. But the Sardauna, it was well decided. Look, there was one secondary school, federal secondary school in the country when we were in secondary school, which was King's College. There were no northerners. He said, no, I must send northerners there to King's College. Go and compete with the southerners. Let wipe this idea that northerners are idiots and know nothing. Compete with them. And we did. You know? It turns out that most of the time after the exam, there, northerners